You just saw the coolest intro ever. Yes or no question, John? Yes or no?
Yeah. Coolest.
I created it. It's great.
Sort of hot today, huh? We're just right into the yes or no's with John, which we know automatically we will not get an answer on. We will instead get a long-winded baloney answer.
Jake, this will be the one time he goes yes right away because he's the one that did it. So
that's right. Because you know what? The first thing he said to me before we started, "Oh, Jake, play the cool intro."
Okay, but you have to.
I have to. I don't have to do anything.
It's a vibe, man. You need a good vibe.
We're joined here with Judge here, Jake Malik, Dave, Just Dave. Just Dave's got a great show coming up as soon as we're done. Hawk Talk. If you're not watching that, you're not an NFL fan. And by the way, we're on NFL Alumni Media. Make sure you're checking that out as well. They got some great shows. But these two are on there as well. Jake, where are we starting tonight?
Well, it's the same place we start every week. Dave, it's a Tuesday night, and Tuesdays call for tacos. Therefore, what are we having, my man?
You know, Anne Marie, I think, is getting spoiled because, well, I'm getting spoiled, but I put her on blast, and so she feels like she has to outdo herself. And this week she did. I only have one taco left, and she did a steak or a chicken fajitas. Oh my gosh!
Nice.
Wow, it's so good.
I'm going to start flying out to California Tuesday morning, so I can be included with the tacos.
Well, I keep telling her we're going to get a taco sponsor, so she thinks like her time is up, where she's not going to have to do this anymore. So where are you getting that taco sponsor? Anyhow, they're delicious.
I mean, look, if I'll tell you this: if she wants to, I mean, I think it's a little work, but if she wants to start making like frozen tacos, tacos, freezing them,
ship them out,
sending them our way, I'm just saying, I'll happily wait to eat my dinner till like 8:30 my time. If she's gonna make tacos like in advance and freeze them and send them my way, absolutely.
Wait, you notice, Jake, she's not jumping in the chat saying yes. So
I know. Hey,
and she's watching.
She's watching. So
but if somebody's got the big word, it's you. So I'm just putting it out there, Dave. That's all. If somebody could potentially get her to say yes, it's you. So just
and Jake waiting past 6:30 for dinner. I mean, I didn't even think that was
a true
possible.
thing to behold.
Yes, this would open up many possibilities.
Hey guys,
it's like opening Pandora's box.
Before we get started on some like baseball.
Hold on. If I really want to, I mean, don't start that one because that's a big box to open. If you tell me maybe, you just really.
Boom! Wow, there it is. All right, man. Yeah. Hey, guys, before we get started, real quick, news yesterday, passing of a young man, Alex Collins, spent some time with the Seahawks, and then I think a couple years with the Ravens. Don't know exactly what has happened yet or if that's been released, but just a quick shout out to the family and prayers to the family and those that that knew him well. So
he seemed like a really good dude too. Not just a really good football player, but a really good, just genuine dude that everybody in the locker room seemed to love being around.
It's just sad to see somebody so young, lose their life. Hopefully, the family is doing okay, the best they can under that situation. His teammates, his friends, I hope they realize that there are a lot of people out there that care about them as well. And it's just a sad thing to see.
That's crazy. The Ravens have had quite a bit of losses in the past couple of years. They had him, they had Afowe or whatever his name was last year to drugs, a young up and coming defensive lineman. And then they had the Goose. They had Tony Saragusa not that long ago too. So man, the Ravens have really had some string of unfortunate events for former Ravens. It's crazy. I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, these are all former Ravens that just been passing away.
Yeah, that's
it's just wild. I mean, just a bit of a misfortune.
Hold on. Where's this floating talking voice?
JB, you look a lot better.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just a little confused.
I like the new look. Should stick with
Sideline
that.
Sports. Sideline Sports. Everybody should have Sideline Sports in their mouth except one person, but that's for another day.
Whoa! All right. Settle down now. Settle down. I know you were frustrated today, but settle down.
Uh,
All right. I think the one thing I want to talk about right now, because it started on football, and I got me thinking about football. I mean, not that I'm not always thinking
Who's
about
not thinking about football, Jake?
You're right. But
Hulk talk
especially,
next, like, come on.
I am admittedly thinking more about it now. Let's say that. It's the fact that, John, your division rival, the New York Jets, signed Dalvin Cook. Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not mixing up my days. That was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Oh, well, all right. I'll address that comment in a minute because
Sure.
why you people tempt me, and I don't get it. Do you guys enjoy? I know that the other three on screen don't enjoy it, but like, do you guys get enjoyment out of the ring? I don't know. Anyway,
we get enjoyment out of laughing at you when you present the ring.
It's fine. You can be upset that I won. Anyway, speaking of teams that think they're going to win but are not going to, let's talk about the Jets signing Dalvin Cook because I know why they did it. Yeah,
changes my thoughts on the whole season.
Okay, well, let's hear it then. All right.
I figured just bringing in Rodgers, it would be a bust, but now you have a good running back to alleviate some of the stress off of the passing game. It opens up the whole offense. It changes everything. They actually will have a great option whether to run or pass, so Rodgers has less pressure. That's what you need to do.
All right.
The only way
before we go before we go any further, I'm going to allow it, and this is up to Dave and John. Would you want to change your AFC East pick from the Bills to the Jets to win the division? If they even allow it,
hell no.
I'm just asking. I'm saying because I'm saying because I want him to lose. I don't want him to win, so I'm trying to screw him over. This is where you guys kind of chime in and go, yeah, let him change it to the Jets if he wants to, because the Jets aren't winning the division. And
we've seen this scenario before, right? All this, all this continuity, all this change in one season. If it had been a slow thing, you're bringing in a bunch of egos, a bunch of different styles of play, and just lumping them all together. And just because they're all dudes, thinking it's going to go well. And I think there's going to be some time of, hey, when is that I get the ball? How do I work with Aaron Rodgers and his deal? And there's just a lot of moving parts there. I think it's a great move for them because he's a great back, but I think they had a pretty decent back to begin with. So yeah, I don't know. I think time will tell, but I think it's going to take them a while to get it all figured out.
I'm going to attempt to top that, but what Dave said, I mean, you really can't do better than what Dave just, like, the way he articulated that. It's hard to top that. That was about as good as it gets. That was like number one pick in the fantasy draft. Good. That was so well done.
John, what do you want from Dave that you're saying such nice?
No, that was beautifully said. Like, everything I was thinking, he said it. It's just because he's Dalvin Cook doesn't guarantee that he's going to be successful. You're taking touches away from Breece Hall, who was really good in the short amount of time we saw him last year. And when he's healthy, what are you doing to Breece Hall and Michael Carter? Because Michael Carter basically said the other day before the signing, we're good. We don't need him. We like what we have. We're young guys trying to develop. And now he's signed, and now guys like Michael Carter are probably going to be on their way out. Zonovan Knight looked solid last year. I remember JB having him in fantasy. Obviously, Breece
That's
Hall.
why you remember him, isn't
it? So, they have a lot of guys back there. And also, I mean, I've talked to Troy Gary, part of the Sideline Sports team on the Gary Stein Stevens show. And, he covers the Vikings a lot. And what he said to me during Hall of Fame week was, as good as Dalvin Cook is, it's either, hey, I hit a home run or I just run into the line and I fall over. Kind of like Zeke. It's almost like, paraphrasing, that's basically what him and I talked about. He's a home run guy. He always is looking for the home run. He's not looking to take the 4 yards and go to the line and get 4 yards or 3 yards and do the dirty work. I got to look for the home run ball, which is great. But at the same time, is he going to be also Dalvin Cook is a zone blocking type of runner, right? Like the Gary Kubiak type of runner where Arian Foster was kind of like that. Mm-hmm. is that going to be what they do in New York? Because if they have him run between the tackles, Dalvin Cook's not doing anything because that's not Dalvin Cook's style. He's a guy that likes to bounce it outside and cut it upfield. So if that's not the scheme in New York, how's he going to look? Because he's not a between the tackles type of guy. So Dave is 100% right. That's what I'm trying to say is like, we don't know the scheme that they're going to do yet. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers had Aaron Jones and he had AJ Dillon last year in Green Bay, and that wasn't that great. So there's a lot of moving parts.
Dalvin Cook's better than both of them.
Yeah. No, but those are really good backs, and that didn't necessarily turn out in Green Bay last year.
They're okay. The offensive line of Green Bay was horrible.
Oh, well, hold on. I hate to tell you, the offensive line in New York is not much better.
It's not the
pretty
best.
garbage.
I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying
I know. No, I understand what you're saying. So. I understand what you're saying. No, I think the big thing that Dave kind of touched on, and it's the issue I take with this, is there are two types of teams you can field. And the Chiefs are one and the Jets are another. And that's, just on paper at least. The Chiefs on paper are an all-star team. They are. It doesn't matter who you put on that team. They just perform. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Basically, after that, it doesn't matter. I mean, Travis Kelce is a huge help to that offense, but I'm almost convinced at this point, if you got rid of him and gave, Mahomes just a tight end that isn't like complete and utter uselessness, knows how to catch a football and run some routes, he'd play well because when you remove Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs were just as good, if not better. They won the Super Bowl minus Tyreek Hill.
They adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, and they're really, really great at that. And then there's teams like the Jets, which they're not an all-star team. They're a team of all-stars. And I've definitely used this, comparison before. I love what the Jets' thought process is, but you cannot just make a bunch of guys, play together. It's not how it works. And basketball is the prime example of seeing this, right? Where, you build this super team and it doesn't work. Now, another two different sports.
The Browns are a great example.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Year over year. You look at them preseason, you're like,
they'll throw money at guys, and what does it do?
They just find a way to lose.
So just because you throw money at guys doesn't fix all your problems. Sometimes you sign the right guys and it helps, no question, i.e. the Dolphins getting Tyreek Hill. That was a huge help to that team. It just made their offense better. It didn't fix a problem. It just bolstered the lineup, but there's a difference. The Jets, I think, are just throwing money at problems and hoping it fixes something. Yeah. And then, Dave and John, you guys kind of commented on it. They already had a good backfield. They didn't need Dalvin Cook. I mean, I understand their logic probably was, hey, we don't want Breece Hall to run back from the injury too fast. We don't want him to get hurt. But, John, you were kind of getting at it. They had a capable backfield. They were fine without him. I mean, they're not as good without Breece Hall. And I'm not saying that Dalvin Cook isn't a great player, but if you were talking about having Zonovan Knight and Michael Carter as your only running backs, sign Dalvin Cook, absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Wouldn't blame them. But knowing you have Breece Hall just kind of in the back is slowly ramping up, this team will be fine without Dalvin Cook for those few weeks while Breece Hall ramps things up. I don't think that was necessarily the most important thing.
It's a one-year deal. It's a one-year deal.
I understand.
So if it works, it works. All those other guys are young. It extends their life by another year in the NFL. How long do NFL running backs last? They have 3 good young running backs. Now you have Dalvin Cook, who's towards the end of his career. He's not done yet, but he's getting up in years. So now those 3 young guys get an extra year on the end of their life because you've got Dalvin Cook, who's probably going to take most of the carries this year. And it's a one-year deal. So if he doesn't really perform, big deal. And then you throw the other guys back in. So you really don't lose if you're the Jets. It's a win-win in every situation.
So 2 things. First of all, we don't know what Robert Saleh is as a head coach yet. We haven't seen him. Like, he's a great defensive mind, again, but he hasn't shown to be a great head coach. Like, Jake, you were saying about Andy Reid with the Chiefs. Andy Reid's a great head coach. So all 3 phases of the game, he does well in helping them build them. Saleh builds the defense, but we haven't seen it offensively yet. with him. He hasn't been able to develop Zach Wilson, partially on Zach Wilson, but I think it's also an indictment on Saleh. And they've struggled on special teams. So we haven't seen it yet from Robert Saleh. And also,
to Saleh's credit, they have a great defense, though. I'll give them that.
Great.
They got that.
But and Hackett when he was on Green Bay,
Hackett couldn't hack it. Sorry.
Their scheme wasn't exactly a zone running scheme. And that's what Dalvin Cook likes. And they do have Hackett in New York as their offense coordinator. So see what he implements as his run game. But at least from what I've seen, that's not his style for his run game. So I don't know if Dalvin Cook will like that. Just saying.
No, well, I think that. I have to say. Yeah, I think that. Well, to change the topic a little bit, but still on the topic of running backs that are signed. Zeke found a home.
Yeah,
and
it's
and a guy like that signing a backup deal, I think is pretty amazing. Still for what they're expecting around $6-7 million.
I personally,
it's up to $6 million.
Yeah,
I love the deal. I think it's great for the Patriots. It's a low risk, potentially high reward. I still think Zeke has a lot left in the tank. Like everybody thinks he's washed up. I don't think so. I just think that they wanted to go younger and cheaper at the running back position before Pollard got his franchise tag. He was a lot cheaper than Zeke. They didn't want to pay Zeke that giant amount of money, and they wanted to go cheap, and they went with Pollard, and that's why I think Zeke's on the way out.
Watching the Cowboys games that I watched, anyways, which wasn't many, but it just looked like Zeke just had no interest whatsoever in the game. It just, he got a couple of plays.
He's just there.
He just looked like he just had zero interest in, and maybe for him, just a little bit of change. He's been there forever, right? Just a change of pace and the chance to win. Well, who knows about that, but a change of pace might be just what he needs.
Yeah. And part of it, I think, with Tim in Dallas was the usage. Zeke is a guy who needs the ball over and over again. Yeah. And then you're putting Pollard in, you're disrupting that rhythm that he has. And Kellen Moore did a horrible job of using Zeke, which is why I don't think he was as good as he could have been. And that could have caused why he lost interest. Yeah. Not that that's acceptable. I mean, you're getting a paycheck to play, so you should never lose interest. But I could definitely understand the rhythm part where that may have affected it.
Yeah. I mean, the Zeke deal, I don't know, John, you love it. I don't know that I love it, though. And it's, if I were the Jets and I were the Patriots, well, really, if I were the Patriots, I would have signed Dalvin Cook. I mean, you pay one guy up to $6 million versus with the Jets signed Dalvin Cook.
They offered him $9 million, and he basically, paraphrasing, wanted to play for a winner. So
that in itself was pretty funny.
Well, no, he said he wanted a chance at the Super Bowl, and he wanted to play with Aaron. So
that's a dig on the Patriots.
Yeah, but I don't know. I also just go ahead, Jimmy.
To say that wanting to go to the Jets so I can play with a winner. The only time the Jets ever did well, in my lifetime, is when Bill Parcells was there, and they still couldn't get over that hump.
They were okay.
They went to back-to-back AFC championships.
They were okay. I wouldn't say they were the greatest thing on the turf, but they were solid teams.
They weren't good. Rex Ryan.
Their defense was fantastic. They just had Mark
Sanchez.
Deny
that
yeah.
Their defense was great. Their offense with Sanchez was not. And
another example of a Robert Saleh type of coach.
Yep. Yeah.
That's Rex
but
Ryan as a head
I think the other thing, though, for the Jets, just my opinion, again, Dalvin Cook is a great running back. There's no question about it. And there's no denying his talent. But I think for what the Jets probably need, which is a filler running back for the first few weeks, and certainly a guy that'll play maybe second or third downs, just to give Breece Hall some relief. Maybe not every drive or every game, but certainly a guy to help back him up and really support him. I'm surprised they didn't go for Zeke. And I said it only because he's cheaper and is going to be able to be used in that same kind of role where, look, you can give Zeke the ball when you can. He will go downhill as a runner, which that is, it's advantageous. He's not afraid to, go outside with it, but certainly it's a nice compliment because Brees Hall, I mean, he'll run downhill, but he's really great in space. If you watched him last year, he was a great runner, a lot of speed. So it would have been a nice 1-2 punch. Having, thought about it a little bit, Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall, they're not the same running back,
but they're kind of,
but they're similar in what they do well. So I guess my thoughts are maybe the Jets, and look, maybe the Jets know something that we don't know about Zeke. Maybe he's got injuries that we don't know about, and that's why he didn't play well. I don't know. These are things that we don't know all about.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. Dalvin Cook's a better running back than Zeke at this point.
That's absolutely true.
I think he's more productive. I think he's got fresher legs. I think he's just a better back.
But New England always has a really good run game, so I think Ramondre.
They already had Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah,
Stevenson's a really good running back, and so I think that 1-2 punch of Zeke and Stevenson, with how good their running game always is going to be really lethal. Now, I think the passing game will hold that back somewhat, but I think that run game will be really formidable between them two. And Bill Belichick's really good at getting the most out of his running backs. And like you said, Dave, change of scenery sometimes is just all you need as an athlete. I think this would be really good for Zeke, and maybe it'll help get him a job next year or somewhere else.
Well, it should be interesting to see. I mean, look, I ultimately, I'm not saying I hate the move. I'm not like, oh my God, it's the worst move ever. I don't feel that way. I think the more I think about it, probably the Jets signing Zeke would have been the better situation for one of these two given teams. But again, the Jets' biggest problem is not the running back situation. The biggest problem is still that offensive line, because I mean, if they don't fix that offensive line, they're in a lot of trouble. So it all becomes, as Joey from Friends said, it all becomes a moo point. It's like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter.
And who gets the ball more? Who gets the ball more, Jake? Is it Dalvin Cook or Aaron Rodgers? Because Rodgers likes to throw a lot, and Cook is used to a lot of touches. So who gets the ball more?
Where's Brees Hall come into all that, though, right?
Carter, like these guys, there's going to be somebody that has to sacrifice touches. And like you guys said earlier, there's already a lot of ego in New York that they've brought in with Rodgers and Cook. And Sauce Gardner has quite the ego already. And so, I mean, there's a lot of ego, and there's not enough footballs to go around.
It's the Jets. They're going to fail anyway. It doesn't matter.
I know. Just like the Mets do, I look forward to it every year. I love it.
Hey, there's one thing we can look forward to this year in week 1 with the Jets and the Bills. Guys, we got a cook-off. Dalvin Cook versus his brother James.
Okay, well done. All right. Well done.
There is something worth looking forward to.
That's a good thing to end on that. I think we've done that one.
Yeah.
Hey, so what do you guys think about the preseason now? We're going to talk about it on my show, but I just don't get the preseason anymore. I mean, that first game, back in the day, that's when your starters would take. Every team would have starters out there for at least a couple series. Some teams would do the first quarter. The second game would be same thing up to the second quarter. The third preseason game would be, the first half for sure, some into the third quarter.
Yeah.
And wrap up. And then, then the final game was, you're taking snaps and then you throw in. That's when I got my chance. Was you get to see what the guys that are on the bubble, to see what they do, and in some action. Now no one's even dressed for the freaking game. I don't see where it is gearing them up or anything other than just checking your talent.
So I think what they're headed towards, this is my opinion. I think what they're headed towards is slimming it down to 2 preseason games, basically counting the joint practices as your third preseason game, and then they're going to move it to 18 games at some point, an 18-game season. That's what I think is going to happen. At some point, maybe even throw in a second bye week down the road. If you have 18 games, throw in a second bye week and start
a week out, or is that just me?
Start a week earlier than you normally do. So instead of starting, September 11th or whatever this year, you would start September 4th. And it would be an 18-game season. Huh?
Yeah, that would put them starting on Labor Day weekend, which they try to avoid.
I think that they've got, if they're going to go 18 games, they're going to start a week earlier, and they're just going to eliminate another preseason game, and I think that's where we're headed towards.
I'll be honest.
Might as well.
I don't. Okay.
Oh, go ahead, JB.
No, I don't watch much preseason. I don't get into it. Nobody plays. I get that it's good to see the backups if I'm a coach, but the odds are I'm going to see maybe 3 or 4 backups for a prolonged period of time for whatever team I like watching. So, to me, the preseason it's just not fun. The guys that play hard are the guys that are trying to win spots.
They're fighting for a job.
But the rest of the team's not playing hard. Wins don't really matter. It's a very hard thing to watch.
It is. At least, like I said, back in the day, you'd see your guys out there and see, okay, how they meshing, and now it's just nobody goes to them. They show the stands are half full. Nobody watches them. I'm just watching it because football's finally on, and I can stop watching Snapped on Sunday.
Dave, they charge full price. Yes. They charge full price for preseason games, like a regular season game. They charge full price for them.
They should be free. They should be free.
And some owners make the season ticket holders buy them at full price.
So whatever you pay for in a regular season game, that's what you pay for a preseason game.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you put a subpar product out there. Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Am I trying to do?
If you saw the Hall of Fame game prices, like. If you saw them prices, some of the tickets are like $2,000 for the Hall of Fame game. I was at that game. That game was awful. It was terrible.
So why it's so expensive?
Yeah.
It's the Hall of Fame game. It's, the first preseason game of the year. It's all the hype, I guess, if you will.
I can promise
you get the Hall of Fame inductees there getting their stuff.
Yeah.
And you get to applaud them, and that's kind of neat. But other than that,
2000.
Preseason is. It used to I used to like it at least a little bit, only because there was a purpose to it. I felt like, and kind of Dave, you outlined it perfectly how you got to watch the players ramp up. I felt like the players got something out of it a little bit more. They got to get their legs under them. Now it's a little bit harder. The schedule's not so, forgiving to allow that. I get the idea of it, of course. I mean, we all do. None of us are going to deny that we understand there's a purpose to it, get these guys in full swing and also give backups a chance. But,
well,
I'm kind of losing the excitement.
Here's another thing that's been kicked around, when I talk to guys. I just, this is not a name dropping thing, but I just played a golf event with Greg Townsend, Matt Vanderbeek, and my buddy from San Diego State, Brett Fairness. And each of those guys played, 6, 7, 8 years.
Right.
And it was back in the day, right? It was back in the day. Preseason, aside from scouting your guys, it's to get you in football shape.
Yep.
Of which you cannot duplicate in practice. And I think, we are seeing more injuries of the knees and other things because guys aren't getting into that 100% full speed football shape, not conditioning. Right. Taking a hit on one leg, taking a hit, twisting in the air. Running backs that go hit the hole and spin aren't used to taking a full hit.
Yep.
And that's the one thing that the preseason geared you up for is the 100% full speed of a game that you can't duplicate in practice. And I think that's it's not going to happen. The players are too strong. The union is too strong. It's not going to go back. But I'll tell you, I think it's what we're seeing a lot of guys getting hurt, especially early on in the season. They're just not ready. They're not ready.
Technically, Dave, they do have a 4th preseason game. It's called Week 1.
Yeah.
You watch Week 1, the product on the field
rough.
is awful. Everybody's just rusty. You see, Dave said, so many injuries.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple weeks of the NFL season, because back in Dave's day, you could actually hit people in practice and you could get that physical feeling. Now you can't. And so you really don't get that until the first couple weeks of the NFL season.
Yep.
And then that's why the product really isn't good until you get to October. And then that's when you see teams start to round and, form into shape. Watch the first month. Everybody's rusty and just kind of finding their foot.
A lot of penalties for a couple of weeks. Those usually get worked out during the preseason because the timing, cadence. little things that people just aren't aware of. The cadence of a quarterback. If you're a new offensive lineman, once again in practice, it's just not the same as a full stadium and stuff moving around and that defense flying. Not walking into position like you would in practice, but I mean, trying to disrupt, trying to make a play. And that speed is exponentially faster.
And you can't simulate that no matter how hard you try. Practice is nothing like that.
I agree. But, JB, I think we have something to do.
Oh, we got something to do.
Yeah.
Your guest one.
A very important person. I was – all right, well.
The most important person.
There's this guy, just sitting in the back. I don't know. Adam.
He came on. He got off.
I don't know.
Just the man I wanted to see.
What's going on, guys? I was sitting there listening to you guys talk about preseason, which my biggest bug is, why is the NFL the only sports that we live and die preseason? We talk about preseason. None of any sport is about the NFL preseason. It's just live or die preseason. I could care less about preseason football. You said it. Football doesn't actually start till October. It's horrible. Week 1 and week 2 is awful to watch, and I think it's funny because this is week 1 and week 2 shows me that the NFL does not prepare second string, third string, add more people to the roster so you have a better product all the way around, not just because your name is Rodgers or Bosa or something like that. That's my biggest pet peeve is that the NFL does not build a 365 around product. It's just the names on the jerseys, Bosa, Rodgers, and then we'll have 3 preseason games and have awful product week 1, week 2, week 3.
But you know what, Raphael? Here's the big thing: do you stop watching football, regardless of your job?
I have not.
Did you stop watching?
I have not watched. I think I've watched 25 to maybe 30 minutes of preseason football.
No, he means
but I'm talking about the regular season. The regular season, does it deter? Again, forget your job for a second. Does it deter you from watching it in the regular season, no matter how bad it is?
I don't watch live NFL. On Sundays, I go to the movies or catch up on stuff because my best friend watching NFL football on Sundays is fast forward because of the laundry, the commentary, the commercials.
That's not the point. The point is you still watch it though, don't you?
I watch college football is what I like the college football more than.
All right, he's got the John Scheer answer. He's not giving you the yes.
Right?
But really,
he's been studying the show.
As bad as those first.
I watch it, but it's not my favorite part. It's not my favorite sport to watch. Period.
That's fair.
It's because I have to. It's because I have to because of work.
All right. Well, that's a personal preference on football, but
so work has ruined it.
The point I wanted to make was
the work has ruined NFL to me. But my job,
you could have such bad football. People watch it anyway. It doesn't matter. That's the thing about the NFL. It's so polarizing. It doesn't matter how bad it is. We all just sit there and go, "Give me more, give me more, give me more." You can't get enough of it.
Everyone missed a really good CFL game on Saturday because we were watching horrible preseason game. A good CFL game on Sunday. High scoring game, 75 points scored in a CFL game on Sunday night.
But think about this. Think about this. When JB and I are covering Super Bowls, and we're at the Super Bowl, like the fan in us is not out there. When we're on the stage with the Chiefs and the Eagles, asking them questions, like. We're professionals. So I understand what Raphael is saying. Like, as professionals, like, it kind of takes something away from enjoying the game because you have a job to do and that's your main focus. So it's kind of hard to enjoy football. Like when JB and I are at the Super Bowl, like we're not even really thinking about the game itself. We're more thinking about like the job that we got to do and all the coverage we got to do. So I completely understand, Raphael. It could be hard to, become a fan and jump back over that fence with all the.
My job is enjoyable, but a curse. That's why I only have one favorite team in all sports, and it's because it's more mental because of how I grew up and medical. It has everything.
Don't say what you're gonna say, JB. Don't even say it.
The best team to root for if you're a Yankee fan.
It's a very stressful team to root for.
Okay. All right. There's something I need to know. Over and under wins for the Seahawks. What's over under? Is it 9.5 still? On what?
Yeah,
and what is that?
It's still 9.5. We got getting a lot of action on the under on total season wins for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So we're going to be rooting for wins for them. I have a feeling, but yeah.
What is the over on it? What's the?
I think the last time the over was -1. Hold on, I'll check right now. Oops.
Oh.
Seattle. I wish they put it in alphabetical order. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 8.5 wins, and the
Wow.
over is -160.
Yeah. Well, it dropped a full win.
They're really not getting any love. Wow, that's crazy. I
Well,
thought they got better this offseason.
I think the bettors and I think the public think is Geno Smith really going to have the same kind of season last year. That's plain and simple.
I mean, he added a really good receiver, and whatever that Jackson Smith, however you say his last name, from Ohio State.
Jackson, you ready? I'm going to show you how to do it.
And
Jigba. It's very easy. It's not hard.
Yeah, well,
Actually,
I got to learn it.
Jigba. Not hard.
But I'll tell you, and he's a perfect type of receiver because he's a slot kind of guy, and that's exactly what they needed because they already had the two deep threats, and they needed a slot guy to work underneath. I think he's great, and the kid that got in the second round, the running back,
Charbonnet.
Thank you. I was going to say, but Charbonnet. I watched.
You're going to say Chardonnay? Please tell me that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to.
My wife would have said that. Yes,
it wasn't that. So, but I watched him all year. I was going to every UCLA game this last year and watched him. And that kid has breakaway speed. And so between him and Walker, I like that offense, and that defense was flying around. They got some funny names. They got Michael Jackson and they got Kobe Bryant, and I mean.
And
if French
really
shows
good.
up, we're in trouble.
I kind of like the Seahawks under total season wins, division total season wins, which we put up last week. They're all there's 3.5. I think they could struggle in division games this year.
You think so?
Wow.
I was thinking 4.
It's getting plus money. You're getting plus 120 on that. I think it's really good value because let's face it, if Geno Smith takes a small step backwards,
that's
then you
interesting.
split all the games at 3.
Then you'll split at 3.
That's fair. All right.
And you're getting plus money. So again, you're getting that plus money at plus 120.
That's crazy to me because you should sweep the Cardinals and then you should at least split the other 2. That's 4 wins right there.
Well,
Cardinals are easy.
Let's take a step back on the Cardinals. Everyone put probably double mortgage their house, bet against the Cardinals in week 1 in preseason. And last time I checked, my wife just got another package from Amazon. So thank you for all you Arizona faders on week 1 preseason.
But they're not going to rush Kyler Murray back because they're not going anywhere. He just had surgery January 3rd, which, that's only an 8-month recovery, and you got to have a lot longer than that for your recovery. And again, like I said, they're not going anywhere, so you're not going to rush your franchise quarterback back when you're in a complete rebuild. So I think they got to go with Colt McCoy, and Colt McCoy's not a good quarterback. So I see a lot of losses for them to start the season.
They don't play. I do believe Seattle plays Arizona. I want to say week 6, 7, or 8. One of those 3. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
That's not good. That bodes well for the Cardinals. If anything,
that's right. If Kyler Murray's back, then that would be close to Call of Duty time, right? Yeah, that'd be right around Call of Duty time. So he might not even come back by then.
That's why I say Colt McCoy, him. Does it really matter? I never thought he was a decent quarterback as it was coming into the draft.
Right. Well, so we were talking about Jets signing Dalvin Cook, and if that was a good move. Did that move the line at all for them for season wins?
No, it moved the juice a little bit, but boy, did we get tons of more future tickets on the Jets. The amount of money we have on the Jets reminds me of the year that Brady went to Tampa, and we just could not get any kind of. We're hoping Kansas City starts out hot. We're hoping Buffalo starts out hot, so maybe we can start getting some of that money. But if the Jets do what the bettors think they're going to do, then it's going to be a very, very long season for us. Because, like I said, the money continues to come on it, which I don't think so. I think, like I said, Miami's in that division. New England's going to be a little bit better. But right now, that hurt us with the amount of money coming in at futures.
All right. So what we haven't asked you, and I wanted to ask the whole time, is what's the best bet for this upcoming week? Because I don't bet, but I know there's one person on the screen who's right next to me that does.
John,
I
you
won't
bet?
say his name.
Yes.
I don't have to call him out. And then there's another person that he doesn't bet, but I think if you give him the right deal, there's a chance he could. I could see it happening.
If you tend to like to bet preseason football, if you do, I have a 1-800 number you can also call after you place your bet. But bet the Baltimore Ravens to win a preseason game. All they do is win games in the preseason. John Harbaugh could care less about Super Bowl trophies, wins that he just wants to win preseason games.
Continuing to win preseason games is his Super Bowl.
I don't understand this. It just boggles my mind how they just continue to win. And I know a guy that's bet them, I want to say maybe 16 or 17 times now in the preseason, and it's always money line because you're not going to get 6 minus 6 minus 7 on a preseason game, so you're always laying 3, 2, or 1 on the Ravens and all that. But he just takes straight up money line, and he's banking it. He squeezed out. He squeezed out last week, winning by 1 point, 20-19.
Doesn't matter how much they win by, right?
Yeah.
You just got the win.
You got the money line.
I'm going to end up betting my house or something on the Ravens winning the preseason game and they'll lose. That's what will happen.
And they're playing the Commodores this weekend in preseason. They're -3. And money's coming in on the Commodores right now. So, I don't understand this. Just bet the Baltimore Ravens if you're going to bet preseason football. But this is the worst. Normally preseason football totals are like around 33, 34. There's a whole handful of 40s, 39s and a half. So I think we might see some under games. I think more defensive players play in week 2.
Yeah. Hey, what about odds on the Lions making the Super Bowl?
Hey, that's another one. We need the Lions not to win their division and to win the Super Bowl because they were probably one of the biggest tickets that comes in on the Detroit Lions. They're plus 125 to win a division. I think they were 10-1 to come out of the NFC. Just because of how many tickets we have on them, not just because they're going to win and all that. People think, I can't believe you can bet this and they're this amount of money. Yeah. No, it's because of the amount of money coming, not because they have a good team. I'm checking right now for Detroit Lions. Right now, they're 25-1. But we opened them, I do believe it was like plus 43-1. So 43-1 to 25. Yeah. Again, we don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but it's just the amount of tickets that keep on coming in.
Yeah, you just
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you got to drop the odds. Yeah.
All right.
That's nuts.
That's good to know.
Well,
John, I'm just going to hold on. John, just do me a favor, though, because you said it and it's been percolating and going through my mind. Please don't bet the house on the Ravens, John.
Trust me, John.
Your wife,
I have faith.
Forget us.
I have faith in
your
John.
wife will kill you.
Take Southern California to win the United States bracket and the Little League World Series. They probably have the best arms coming into the Little League World Series.
Wow, that sounds like something.
5-1. You can get them at 5-1.
5-1. Now bet the house, John. 5-1.
Now bet the house, John. That's where you bet the house, right there. 5-1, John. That's some big money.
But International is probably going to win. I was watching Little League World Series. All the foreign kids. The Tokyo, Japan pitchers, I felt like I was watching KBO baseball this afternoon. These pitchers were unbelievable. Their curveballs these kids were throwing were unbelievable.
Wow. And soccer's back, Raphael. That's a great sport to bet because you get like maybe 2 goals in a game and it's like a miracle.
Just bet Messi to score every time. They're winning 3-0 right now.
Raphael, how'd you know I was going to ask you that? I was just going to say, what's the money on Messi scoring a goal? Because it's that sixth straight game with a goal just now, and that's 9 goals total he has. He's been unbelievable.
His first game in Inter Miami was 4-1 to score, which is normal. It's normal goals, 2 goals, 3 goals in these type of games. Now every time he plays, we had to put plus 150 because the amount of money that we're getting for people to think Messi's going to score, and we've been getting our booties whipped, and they're winning games, which people don't understand. Inter Miami was the worst team in MLS. And now with Messi coming in there, and it's been crazy. I am excited to watch MLS when they get back in action because I want to see if Inter Miami can get out of the gutter and maybe make some noise. But the English Premier League started last week too.
Yeah, the German league I think starts this week. The Italian league starts.
Real football, not this NFL stuff.
Hey, watch yourself.
Soccer.
Now, if you want to have fun betting, bet soccer because like 1 goal can take you 75 minutes. It's just a long drawn out process, but they play hard. There's some hits in soccer.
Not in English Premier League. A lot of faking in the EPL.
I used to think that I used to think that it hit though, and it was a bad game. They actually get into it. There's some good hits.
I'll pass on that. I like watching.
You miss a good.
I like watching, as you want me to call it, American football.
Thank you, Jake.
Actually, actual
real
football.
Man,
football. You guys should be thankful. I just didn't start screaming because the Cubs just hit a home run. So,
congratulations!
I calmed myself, and as I'm working on Pac-12 Mountain West merger odds right now, as we speak. So,
what does that look like?
I would think that's probably the best option. What I've heard is the ACC does not want those two teams, and Stanford and Cal. So if you're – and the only way that merger stays, if San Diego State and Boise State stays, because at least that helps their football programs if they merge. But if San Diego State and Boise both want to leave, because I think Boise wants to jump over with BYU in the Big 12, and, of course, San Diego State's been trying to leave the Mountain West for the past 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, if those two schools leave, then I think they're probably almost in that same echelons as the ACC. Because let's face it, the ACC really only has Clemson, maybe North Carolina, maybe Miami if they're in Florida States. But San Diego State and Boise, I know people don't like to watch West Coast football, but they can bring some talent in. And I think if they can merge with the Pac-12, then I think that helps their recruiting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we should just get rid of conferences altogether at this point because it's ridiculous.
They want two conferences. They want to do it like the NFL, but then they're having troubles what they're going to do with the schools because the SEC says they will not participate that because what I understood is if they do that, then they're going to tell the SEC, well, then you can't bring Vanderbilt and Missouri, these other smaller schools that haven't won anything in the SEC. They just want to bring in the top talent of all the schools around here and do 2 super leagues, but the SEC says no. So whatever SEC says goes, like pretty much in college football.
Yep.
All right.
Well, they're the important ones.
Last question for Raphael. I got a feeling I know the answer, but I really hope I'm wrong. Do you? Because I know you're big on you can bet anything, and you can bet that is your. I don't think that's your full Instagram handle. I think there's more to it. I think there's a number in there. And if I'm butchering it, you can just tell me. That's okay.
It's just you can bet that.com.
Oh, all right. So I was close. I knew that was part of it. All right. So it came out yesterday, 2 days ago. Michael Orr. He's not suing them, but he's. I forget what he's doing, but he's
trying to get rid of his.
It's ugly. This is ugly. Yeah.
It's more business stuff.
But the question for you, Raphael, is: do you have odds? And if you do, what are they? But do you have odds on Michael Orr getting money out of this? Quote unquote, winning the case, if you will, getting what he believes he's rightfully owed.
I will be doing odds on that probably tomorrow. I got to do some more Trump odds tonight after I finish these college futures and stuff like that. I have good sources that work for entertainment tonight and stuff like that who are going to give me some inside scoop on this. It's both sides that are battling, and I'm hearing both sides have truth into their stories. And I've heard some handshake deals before the even movie came out. Hey, you don't say this, we don't say this. We all it's
not surprised by that.
It's gonna be ugly and dumb at the same time.
Yeah.
Anything
Raphael must have.
Go on, GB.
No, Raphael must have the most interesting phone conversation. I mean, no matter what topic we bring up, he has some base of knowledge. I believe that he actually knows people in these industries. Oh, I agree with you.
I had a phone call today, and I can't name names, but there's 2 former porn stars that want to get into MMA fighting. I can't name names that they're training right now, and they actually want to either join the PFL or start off with Masvidal's game bred fighting before. So, yeah, these are the conversations that I have on a daily basis.
Raphael,
he's the Bret Hart of this industry.
No. John, he is the most interesting man in the world.
The best there is, best there was,
that
best
character,
there ever will be.
That's Raphael. That's him right there.
You guys should do an internship in my office. You guys get to listen to some of the phone calls and read some of my emails.
I love that.
JB, you're retired. Go do it.
Some of the stuff that comes from the White House during the election would make you want to move to Canada or to the nearest island. The stuff I was getting was just ugly and most pathetic.
Those are strong words.
It was just ugly.
Well,
So,
Raphael knows something we don't. All right.
yes.
He
All
knows
right,
a
well-
lot.
Yeah.
I know that. All right. Well, gentlemen, if you have more questions, by all means, go ask. But that's all I got right now.
No, I'm good.
All right,
Raphael,
Take your silence
Thanks,
as
Ralph.
well. Raphael.
See you guys next
always
week.
good.
we appreciate your time, man. See you next week.
Go
Take it
O's.
easy, guys.
Thanks. He is by
Yeah.
far the most entertaining and best when it comes to the wildest topics. And the sick thing is he actually has actual knowledge on it because
Yeah.
he knows somebody doing this or that. It's crazy.
There's insider information
just-
everywhere.
I'm convinced you could just with him. It's like just throw something at the wall and hope it sticks. He is not hope it sticks. It's throw something at the wall. I know it'll stick. He's just
Right.
like every time he's got something. It may not be a lot,
Were you
but
trying to
he's
stump
got
him with
something.
your question? Were you going for
No.
the stump on it?
I wasn't going for the stump, but I was like, I wanted to talk about that at least, or acknowledge it, right? And if anybody's got to have something interesting on it or odds on it, like Raphael would have it. I'm like, he does all kinds of things. This is something he would do, and I was right. He's gonna do it.
I'm gonna have to bother Dave about this stuff since Dave was the guy on the show that got to be a professional athlete. When you were growing up and you got towards college, I know you said your brother also played at college. Were there people basically harassing you and trying to hang on to you, almost like entourage type thing?
No, because it was in the 80s. It was before, anybody knew who any of us were. Now, I had a little bit of that when I was in Montreal. People waiting after the game or, because having a French last name, I was on TV. I've got a lot more notoriety than an offensive lineman should. But in college, it was people, when you're 6'7", 295 pounds, people just want you around. So, it's a little different. It had nothing to do with I don't think much with football. It's just, hangers on.
So how weird was that? Like having people wait, like random people waiting for you outside, like of the stadium or outside the gates when you're trying to just get to your car or whatever, and they're just like waiting for you. How weird is that? Is
John,
that scary?
No, John.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know who they are.
Well, yeah, I wasn't too concerned when I was in Montreal. I was 360. And I had long hair and braids, and I looked more like a wrestler than I did a football player. But I wasn't too concerned about my safety. I will say, though, my other buddies that played offensive line, they'd just go, DeRocher, and then they'd walk off and leave me, because I did like signing autographs. I did, Anne Marie's watching, so I can't say too much. No, she knows.
Whoa. Do
Do
yourself a favor. Don't say anything else. You got
no.
want those
3 minutes
tacos coming. I
before
want them
there.
It
too.
was just innocent enough, but when you're young and you have an ego, it's kind of it's kind of fun to have people that are interested enough in you to stick around after. Or when I would show up to La Caja Sport, which is the sports bars up there, and by the time I sat down, there was already 2 or 3 pitchers of beer. That kind of stuff. It's rock star status a little bit, so it is a little bit fun. It didn't get too crazy because frankly, I wasn't an Aaron Rodgers, or Brady. It wasn't like it wasn't like people like trying to cut my hair or grab my sweater or something.
Dave, 2 things of beer on the table when you get there. That doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, so it was fun. And then in Seattle, being a backup offensive lineman, and people knew who you were, where you didn't have to wait in line and and free meals or whatever. That was fun as well. It didn't suck, but it wasn't that crazy what the guys are today. Like Michael Jordan that can't go anywhere. He has to rent out Disneyland in order to go to Disneyland or whatever.
Did anybody ever try and come after you, like attack you or anything, or get weird?
Yeah.
Really?
They lost.
I was going to say, definitely. Dave was a big, intimidating, strong man.
I don't know if he actually ever made a move and tried to come after.
Well, but that's why I didn't stay out past midnight. Guys get drunk and they get their beer muscles or whatever they think they got going, and it just wasn't any fun.
Stupid.
So we were warned about it, we were advised on it, and then until you witness it, it's like, oh my gosh, this idiot.
Yeah.
So we just went home.
All right. Well, I would love to keep talking about these because, Dave, I feel like you got some great stories too.
Yeah.
But Dave has a show that starts in less than 10 minutes, and we got to wrap our show so Dave can get himself a glass of water, go say hello to Anne Marie for a minute, maybe, and then get back on the mic because Dave's got Hawk Talk. So, Dave, we're going to start with you because you're no longer Just Dave, even though your name says Just Dave. You've got something big to plug.
I got something. Yeah. So, our Facebook is Hawk Talk 12, and it's talk with a W. A little bit of play on words, that's a marketing deal. Anyways, Hawk Talk 12 is our Facebook, and Hawk Talk is our show. It's on Sideline Sports. It's on the NFL Alumni Network. I got these great friends of mine help me with the production side of it. My co-hosts are Trey Madden and Walter Thurman, Legion of Boom. And our guest this week is Patrick Hunter, who I played with back in the day. We're going to talk about camp with Chuck Knox versus camp today.
Now you got to watch. That's going to be.
We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to have a 12th man on every week. And our first guest there is the president of NorCal Seahawkers, Todd Gomes. So anyhow, we're going to go do that and have fun.
Love it, John.
Yeah. NFL Alumni Media, Sideline Sports, and Blue Hawks 13. We got to wrap up. I'm not talking that much.
I know. JB.
JB_ the program. Make sure you watch Hawk Talk. Got Confidential tomorrow. Bunch of other great shows. Jake?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. Most importantly, you can find Sideline Sports as you see all the stuff scroll across the bottom of the screen. We got Hawk Talk in just a couple minutes. And Dave, tell the people what they should do besides just watch the show.
Be good humans.
That's right. And everybody, have a good one.